In Blazor, we also have something called pre-rendering, which is essentially initial rendering. The primary purpose of pre-rendering is to improve SEO optimization.
Hello, this is Kazimierz Spin. Welcome to the Code with Kazik channel, where I demonstrate how to effectively learn programming and become a successful programmer.
This allows you to create SPA applications in WebAssembly that are optimized for SEO. This is quite good news. Thanks to pre-rendering, the user will also see the loading page faster, making the connection quicker. However, this solution has its drawbacks. If we fetch data from the database asynchronously, we might notice a brief flicker because the initially displayed data in the user interface needs to be overwritten or replaced. Additionally, if we use pre-rendering, we cannot use JavaScript in functions like onInitialized or in constructors, which can cause issues in some cases. For example, if we have authorization in the application, the token is usually stored in local storage or somewhere on the browser side, and without JavaScript, it is hard to read it. In such situations, we have several solutions, which I will show you in more detail in the following modules. This means we can skip pre-rendering, since if the user has to be logged in, pre-rendering doesn't offer much benefit. If you need the user to be logged in only on certain pages, you can also disable pre-rendering just on those subpages. So, there are many possibilities here, and I'll show you an example later. An important note, pre-rendering is enabled by default when using Blazor applications with interactive components. However, we can disable it for the entire application or for specific components. So, here we have the application from the previous lesson again, the Blazor Server interactive application. And if you look at the page source as I mentioned last time, you can see that we have data saved here that is displayed on the web page. You can notice a Blazor comment here, and you have the application type defined as server and also the pre-rendering ID, which is this ID. So, this is where it starts. And here below you can notice the closure of this comment, meaning that what you have between this comment and this one was displayed thanks to pre-rendering. If it were disabled, it wouldn't be here in the page source. Now, I'll run our application in debug mode and see what happens. First, I go to the weather tab, then in this method on, initialized, async, I'll set a breakpoint here, and now see, if I refresh my application, refresh the page, I go to the method on, initialized, click continue, and after a moment I notice that I enter this method a second time. And here, the first time, because we have this pre-rendering, we had to call this method for pre-rendering, and the second time normally. Moreover, see that the data on this weather page is displayed randomly. On our table we have random data, and see if I refresh it, go to the method on, initialized, click continue, return to the application, and notice that here in the first record we have 15 and 58. So now we are in the pre-rendering version, and if I click continue, the method will execute a second time, and you will notice that we have different data here. So, in this case, the pre-rendering version looks different from the normal user version. And because we have random data here, this logic is executed twice. However, in most cases, if we are not displaying any random data, both the pre-rendering and normal versions will look the same. You can disable the rendering mode in the Blazor application in two ways. First, go to the app component, Razor, and here we have the rendering mode defined globally for the entire application. Now, if you want to disable pre-rendering, you need to change the syntax a bit and write it this way. New, interactive, server, render, mode, so we still have interactivity on the server side, and here we open the parentheses and set pre-render to false. Sure, and we can similarly specify head and outlet for this component, okay? And of course, if you didn't define this globally for all components, but only for individual components, then the notation would look the same. Now I run the application, go to the weather tab, view the page source, and now you can see that we no longer have, first of all, any information about pre-rendering in the comment. And secondly, we don't have the page data here, meaning the data from the table is not displayed. And we have another way to disable pre-rendering, but for this second method, we can define it in C# code. So here, I will create this C# code in the same app file, Razor, and now I simply create a static field, private static, iComponent render mode, and here any name, let it also be render mode equals, and here I define the rendering mode, so in our case, let it be interactive server render mode, and similarly in parentheses here I indicate pre-render and set it to false, and I will assign this field in the place where I declare the render mode. In this way, if I restart the application now, go to the page source, and also notice that pre-rendering is disabled.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed this film, be sure to join my community, where you'll also have access to exclusive additional materials and, most importantly, fantastic special bonuses. The registration link is located in the description box below the video. See you in the next episode.